Thank you. Well, thank you, SCBWI, for hosting this. It's really fun. And I'm Rebecca Balcarcel, and my website is in the chat. It's RebeccaBalcarcel.com. It's hard to spell, RebeccaBalcarcel. And this is my novel, The Other Half of Happy. It's a middle grade contemporary that stars Kihana, who's a 12-year-old bicultural girl. Like me, she's half Guatemalan, and then her mother was born in the United States. Her father's Guatemalan. And she is, straddling this cultural line. She is asking herself who she is, what does it mean to have an identity that is, bifurcated, that is divided. She visits one side of the family and she doesn't speak Spanish. And so she feels left out. She doesn't know how to make a tortilla. Finally, her tia actually does teach her how to do that. And then she visits her other side of the family, and she's the brown girl in the room. She feels very Americanized, really. And so she wonders if that's okay. In one scene, she passes for white, and some Mexican boys are insulted, and she does not step up and feels guilty about that. And later on, she gets an opportunity to fix that. But Kihana is a girl of two worlds, and I loved writing this book. In a lot of ways, it was a tribute to my parents. My father plays guitar, for example, and there's a guitar on the cover, and music is an important element in the book. Kihana learns to play guitar, but in secret, because she doesn't want her father taking over her project, which of course he totally wants to do. Parents are always interfering. And my real dad played guitar, and actually this is my real guitar. So I too am working on learning. I can play about 3 chords, and I can get through some folk songs and campfire songs. But in the book, Kihana actually wants to write a song, and it's you do see her write a song, and you can see how music is one of the ways that she both connects to her heritage and then also asserts her own identity. So all through the book, she is asking these questions about, am I enough as an American? Am I enough as a Latina? Do I even identify as a Latina when my Spanish is terrible? And the big worry for Kihana is that her parents are about to drag her to Guatemala for a visit. And she is just sure that she will hate it because she won't be able to understand the conversations, and she'll just be dragged around like a paper cardboard girl from place to place. So her big plan is to not go on that trip somehow. And you'll have to read the book to find out how she is, plotting and planning to get out of that trip. And of course, she has friends. She meets her friends are new to her because she's new in 7th grade at the middle school, and so she at first doesn't have any friends. And she says, "I'm a lone grape in the lunchroom, and all the other kids are bunches of grapes because they belong in groups, but she's by herself." But she does make friends, and they become very important, and they help her with this plan to never ever go to Guatemala, because she's happy being half, as the title refers to the other half of happy. But of course, she's totally wrong about that. And if you do find me on social media, I am on Twitter I'll put it in the chat. It's at r_Balcarcel. And I am happy to send you some bookmarks, or I have a few book plates that I can sign. So I'm happy to mail those to anyone who's interested. And I'll also mention that I'm working on a new book. It comes out in spring of 2022, and I'm excited uh, about this one because it's a girl in STEM. And there are not very many Latina girls in STEM in books right now. So I'm excited for readers to encounter this character. The main character is Luz, and the book is called Shine On Luz Velis. And Velis is her last name. And Luz, of course, means light. And so the title Shine On is a little bit of a pun on her name. Luz is, she was a soccer star until an injury ended her athletic career. And she is hunting around for who she is now, you know. But thankfully, across the street lives kind of a gadget grandpa, kind of a coder guy whose garage looks like maybe the basement of Google or something. It's full of old computers, and he used to work for Texas Instruments, and he teaches her about coding. And she joins the robotics club at school, and she discovers that this is a new passion for her. And everything's going great until her father reveals a secret that, and her father is Guatemalan also, like my previous book and like my real dad. And it turns out that dad has a child in Guatemala, a girl, almost Luz's age, a little older. And this girl has lost her mother and is now going to come and live with Luz and her family. So she's about to have a half-sister move in with her and disrupt her whole life and her family. And so I think it's an interesting challenge for her. And, in the other half of Happy, Quijana feels like her heritage is intruding in small ways. But with Shine On Luz Velis, her heritage is like coming into the house and living embodied in this person, someone who does speak Spanish fluently, who does know how to cook Guatemalan food. And, the father and the new daughter can have a conversation, but Luz can't join in that conversation because her Spanish is too elementary. So this is a big threat for Luz. And so she is going to have to decide whether to embrace this half-sister. And little tidbit, in real life, I have a half-sister who does live in Guatemala and who is a bit older than I am. And we did not know of each other's existence until we were in our 30s and 40s, respectively. So this is a book that is a little bit of a tribute to my real half-sister, who turns out to be a delightful, creative, smart woman that I am really lucky to know. And I have been able to see her a few times. I would love to visit her more. I have to say that in the last presidential administration, getting a renewal for a visa was really impossible for her. And so she hasn't been able to visit in a couple of years because of that. And of course, now we have COVID, but my hope is that she will be able to renew her visa and come visit us again soon. Because while my character, Luz, isn't so sure about having half-sister, I am all in and I love my half-sister. And I think a lot of families do have this dynamic. And so I hope that some readers will be able to relate to Luz's situation and discover that love is really, it's possible across language, across culture, and these barriers. So that's one of the big messages of the book.